Most famously remembered as the author of the Declaration of Independence and our nation's third president, Thomas Jefferson is one of the most venerated men in American history, yet he is also one of the most polarizing and intriguing. Thomas Jefferson and many other founders of the United States tend to be exalted and glorified and almost deified because of how influential they were in securing America's independence and establishing its new government. While there is certainly nothing wrong at all with admiring these individuals for what they did, we must be careful not to place them on a pedestal to the point that we see them only in the way that fits our particular agenda or past assumptions. As historians, we must strive to be objective and honest in our research, and oftentimes that means being willing to adjust our previously held opinions in light of the truth we uncover through our investigation. This also means examining all aspects of the context surrounding our research. In their American Synecdoche article from this week's readings, Jan Lewis and Peter Onuff write that Thomas Jefferson's proper context is, quote, not the array of gods and demigods in the American pantheon, but rather the social and intellectual milieu that shaped him and within which he acted. It is undeniable that Thomas Jefferson had a tremendous impact on the United States. Without him, America probably wouldn't be the nation that we know today. Even so, his legacy cannot easily be narrowed down or specified, especially when it comes to his religious views. Many people like to think of Thomas Jefferson as being a Christian because it helps reinforce their belief that America was founded explicitly as a Christian nation. However, it doesn't take reading more than just a couple of his personal letters to see that Jefferson actually detested the formal label of Christianity and was opposed to some key tenets of the Christian faith. Primarily, he believed that there was no Trinity, that God was not creator and sustainer of the universe, and that Jesus was not the Son of God. In 1821, only 5 years prior to his death, Thomas Jefferson wrote a letter to Timothy Pickering in which he said the following, quote, when we shall have done away with the incomprehensible jargon of the Trinitarian arithmetic, that 3 are 1 and 1 is 3, when we shall have knocked down the artificial scaffolding reared to mask from view the simple structure of Jesus, when, in short, we shall have unlearned everything which has been taught since his day and got back to the pure and simple doctrines he inculcated, we shall then be truly and worthily his disciples. And my opinion is that if nothing had ever been added to what flowed purely from his lips, the whole world would at this day have been Christian. End quote. From this poignant statement, we can see that Jefferson clearly detested any formal brand of Christianity because he felt that man had distorted and corrupted it through the years. He also believed that there was no such thing as a Trinity because it didn't make logical mathematical sense to him. How could 3 be 1 and 1 be 3, he asked. We also see an example of how he perceived Jesus as merely a man who taught good morals, not as the Son of God in human form. In terms of his spirituality, Thomas Jefferson can be considered a deist. He acknowledged that there was a supreme being who created the universe, but does not intervene in it, and has not since its creation. Rather, this divine clockmaker simply treats the world like a clock. He made it, wound it up, and lets it run on its own. In another letter written in 1803 to Dr. Benjamin Rush, Jefferson once again stated his objection to formal Christianity and reiterated his belief that Jesus was simply a good man with good morals. Jefferson writes that his views of Christianity were, quote, the result of a life of inquiry and reflection, and very different from that anti-Christian system imputed to me by those who know nothing of my opinions. To the corruptions of Christianity I am indeed opposed, but not to the genuine precepts of Jesus himself. I am a Christian in the only sense in which he wished anyone to be, sincerely attached to his doctrines, in preference to all others, ascribing to himself every human excellence and believing he never claimed any other." End quote. John Meacham wrote in his biography of Thomas Jefferson that Jefferson had come to believe that the apostolic faith was superstitious and therefore unreasonable. From Jefferson's own letters, we can see this to be the case. Thomas Jefferson himself best summed up both his perplexing personality and the religious legacy he wished to leave in a letter that he wrote to John Adams in 1817. In it, he tells Adams that he was approached by a potential biographer who wanted to know what he should write about Jefferson's views on religion. In response, Jefferson writes, he told him, "Say nothing of my religion. It is known to my God and myself alone. Its evidence before the world is to be sought in my life. If that has been honest and dutiful to society, the religion which has regulated it cannot be a bad one."